Ruthie here, and this is your review for Simplicity Pattern 1426. Boom! Here it is. As you can see, there are 4 views, A, B, C, and D, and C has a variation with or without straps. So maybe 5 views. Now, before you sew any garment, you should have a reason why you're sewing it. Either you would like that garment, or you want to practice a skill, or you want to reduce your fabric stash, or maybe make a gift. I don't know. In my particular case, I wanted to practice sewing a garment that covered the upper body. I've never sewn a bodice, and to prepare for making my first dress, I thought I would sew this halter top to sort of go through the motions. Now, the reason I chose A in particular out of all the options is, well, it's the one the model is wearing, so I had the clearest idea, and more importantly, it didn't need any fusible interfacing. Not that I don't have it, and not that I don't know how to use it, but lazy. Now for me, there were 4 firsts in this garment. It was my first time sewing a line garment, my first time sewing a halter top, my first time sewing multiple buttons in a row, which if you've ever sewn one button, it's pretty straightforward, but sewing 4 in a row, 3 in a row, you really have to make sure they're perfectly lined up, that the buttonholes are perfectly lined up, otherwise it looks very happy hands at home. And it's also my first time sewing pleats on a garment. Things I liked about this pattern. There were a few things I liked. For instance, there was a really low fabric footprint. So you needed less than a yard no matter what size, no matter what view. You needed less than a yard of the fabric, the fashion fabric, and of the lining fabric. That was great. Also, there are 4 views, and they really are 4 completely different views. Sometimes you buy a pattern and they say 4 views, but one of them's sleeveless, one of them's short sleeves, and one of them's long sleeves, so it's basically the same thing cut in different places. This is 4 completely different patterns, and I really appreciate that. Also, I appreciate the lines. They're very clean and straightforward. It's not very busy. I really like that. And the 4th thing I liked is when you're sewing, there is this paragraph called Fashion Facts of the 1950s. And it gives you a little insight into what it was like in the 50s to be a home sewer. And it was interesting, and I wish there were more of it. It was good. Now, there were 2 things I did not like about this pattern. The first thing was, if you look at the back of my garment, you can see that the buttons are off center. Now, the reason for that is because the pattern doesn't give you a small enough circumference to give you a good snug fit. If you put the buttons exactly where they tell you to put them, you will end up with a very loosey-goosey garment, and you will be showing your goods to the world. That's not ideal. Another thing I did not like is their handling of the lining was inconsistent. Sometimes they were very clear to tell you what to do with it. Other times you had to guess that you were supposed to have, sewn the darts in, something like that. So that wasn't great. Now, I do have one tip for today, and that is if you are halfway done sewing and you try the garment on, it might look a little bit loose, and it might look a little bit like it's not really coming together. I did that, and I almost quit. So my advice is if you get most of the way done and you try it on and it doesn't look good, persevere. It's going to turn out okay. So in conclusion, I would say I recommend this pattern, 1426, and I will sew it again in the future. I will do view B, C, or D. I haven't decided yet. Do you guys have an opinion?
Ruthie's Review.